Hey everybody, it's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. I live in Durham, North Carolina, and I am in my workshop that I call Paper Town. I'm so happy you're here. I wanted to show you a journal that I finished up this morning. This one is a lot of fun. It has 80 pages if you count front and back. It has one signature. It's tied with some Hug Snug that just kind of runs around the outside, and of course it's tacked down here with stitching from the sewing machine. I love how this charm turned out. This is a spool that had sewing thread on it, and I just took a piece of dictionary paper, wrapped it around and glued it into place, and I love that it says daguerreotype. You know, those are the really old images that are almost on something like metal. Very, very cool. There's a vintage button. There's my stamp on the back. This journal has, as usual, my layers of fabric. It also has some batting under this outside layer. I have to explain this. I've been working on putting fun packs together, and I've been trying to find really interesting ways to use everything. This was an old file folder that had the, this is older than like well, it's older. That sounds ridiculous. The shape of the metal part is different than the ones you buy now. It was smoother and more round. The paper felt a little different. It was a different color. So I just pulled the metal part off and folded it over the tops. This is a junky junk journal. This is about playing around with materials and just seeing how things look and how they turn out. This image is stamped on fabric, and I sewed around the edges and then glued it to the front, and there's a little metal embellishment here on the front. I always make the charms, or try to make them, so that you can pull it up over the journal so that if you're working in it, it's not in the way. I painted over the top of this fabric on the inside. Once I had it in there, it just felt too green. I like that you can see the flowers through the acrylic paint. There is a pocket on the inside covers, front and back. This very first page is a file divider that's pretty stiff. I cut it down, and it is put in with this paper tape that I like to use, the sort of craft packaging tape. You can see where that is holding these pieces together. It was bent a little bit here, so I just put some masking tape over that. I love the old color of this. I love these letters. I love that it has some wear, but I did want to cover up where it was bent from probably years of use. This journal has some stamping in it. It's got, you know, unusual pages like calendar pages. There's some pink paper in here. Some of the paper, I took some really pretty tissue paper and glued it over the top and then distressed it. There's a leaf there. We've got stamping throughout, both words and images. Just places to write and do art if you want to. This is some of this file folder. That's what the paper looked like, and there are a couple of places where I just folded a piece over to make a tab to turn the page. More of that bright pink paper. There's a little note from a pad of note paper. I love that it has the bird with the top hat and the little cup. I think that's just one sheet there, and then there's another sheet later on. These were some old Xeroxed pages. There's one of these in here, but there are others that are going to be in the current fun packs. Just interesting looking at people's handwritings and seeing what they say. That's actually a little pocket, and when you pull that out, there's an old postcard in here that's already postage paid. It's got the fish on it, USA 28 cents. And I just folded that up in this sheet of paper that's got some staining on it because the postcard kind of disappeared in there. It was kind of too short. This is interesting. There's some old stationery in here. The Spudtown Tattler. It says Middle East Bureau, Beirut, Lebanon. Another calendar page. Some more stamping and the pink paper. And then here is an old sheet of sort of ledger type paper from General Electric. Butterfly stamp. That's an older Stampin' Up! Stamp. Here's some more Xeroxed paper. It's just, again, an interesting communication between a couple of people, I think. More stamping. There's some computer paper in here. I love that you can tear the edges off. And there will be quite a bit of that in each fun pack, just so you can have it in your stash. There's a pretty postcard. I put a stamp on that. I just like the tree and the birds there. This was from paper that is used to print payroll checks on. I like that number on there. More stamping, and then again, more stationery. This is the Los Angeles Times. Not sure where this came from or how old it is. Of course, I bought it used. Here's a little piece of paper from a notepad, Ace Hotel, New York. And there's an interesting paper clip there. A piece of scrapbook paper for the center of the journal. And this is an old card from a set of cards that was one of those boxed sets of like history. There will be some of these in the current fun packs. That's just something that I stamped the butterfly, and I liked just the way that it's, you know, the way that it's drawn. I thought, well, that's a fun sort of easy shape, and I felt like you could easily reproduce that, you know? So I tried it and it was fun. I mean, I like to be inspired by things like that. And it looks like there's some lines there. So there, I mean, we just added to that. But that is in the center of the journal. Turning on, just more paper, places for you to create. There's a pocket there and a postcard, 1995, Cary Grant, Rosalind Russell, and some of the butterfly appliques that I found recently. The other part of that, Xeroxed paper. That's got tissue paper. I stamped on top of that. And then there's part of a napkin there. Old masking tape. Dictionary page, and then that's glued onto the other side of this calendar page. Here's a local postcard that's from 2017 about an art walk that was in Durham. And here's just a pocket here. There's some washi tape with donuts on it. I wanted this journal to feel just junky, really junky, and like it has a bit of everything. There is a textile sample there. It feels like leather. I think it is. This has a rusty paper clip on it. This is like a little tuck spot there. You could put something in there if you wanted to. And that's neat. I sewed this pocket by flipping an envelope over and sewing down the sides. So really you've got 3 places here where you can put things, and that's an old envelope, by the way. It's empty, I think. Another butterfly, but it's not really sewn to this paper. It's glued down, but when I took, you know, the ink pad and ran over the edges, you can really see the stitching there, and I like that. And I like the airplane. I just flipped the adhesive part over and glued it down. And then this is more of those pieces of paper that would be used to print payroll on, and I took a few of those and just stapled them together. It's glued down at the bottom, and each page has a different stamp on it. And there's just a little piece of paper. The corner was torn off. It had a word printed on it. I think it must have been a company name, but I didn't really like the color of the ink. It just felt like it clashed with everything. So I tore that off. And then this is just a fun little photo strip that's stapled to the top of that calendar page. I put a piece of paper underneath it just to give some contrast. So that does not have to stay there. And you could take that staple out if you wanted to as well. So this is the last page. I stamped the end here. This sheet is very heavy. I mean, it's stiff because it's a file divider. So you can notice it. I feel like it makes the journal stand open a little bit, but I could be just imagining that because I think journals tend to do that anyway, especially one signature journals. You can see where this metal strip has been hand sewn into place here. I used the sewing machine here on the outside. You know, again, this is a junky junk journal. It's meant to inspire. It's meant to have fun in. In the back, I painted that fabric again. I obviously got more paint on this side because you can't see the flowers through it. And then we have an old letter here. This is from 1974. It's very interesting. It's to someone named Dolly, and it's signed Viola McMillan, and the message is really sweet, but that's in the back. It's kind of sad too. I think the person writing the letter had lost a friend and they were talking about it. And then inside here we have 3 cards from a set of cards that was all about the British monarchy. So we have George I, George II, and James II on these 3 cards. And they fit perfectly into this little very neat envelope. It's got the flaps here, and then oops, this folds down, and this little heart shape, it stands up, and you know, those 2 pieces fit into here, and you lay those down flat. And I just stamped the word Kings. And then on the back again, there's my stamp birdsong. So if you're interested in just truly a junky journal that's kind of a piece of artwork more than anything that you can continue to add to and get ideas from, and maybe put your own ideas into it, this is what this is. I will be back really soon with some other just creative content. I'm going to be listing more in the shop today, and I am hoping to get some art journals up into the shop today. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye for now.